Good evening, Council. This is your 10-second warning that we're going to start. Yeah, we're all here, so we'll get started. And we're resuming from our meeting that went until about 4:30 this afternoon, so we're picking up from there. But I will begin this evening with the territorial acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather, land on which we are broadcasting from today, is the land traditionally cared for by the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral people. We also acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge and philosophies of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today. And I know we have a delegate here tonight to start us off, but I just wanted to take 30 seconds to reflect on our discussion this afternoon, which I think certainly I felt, and I think the rest of us felt, was really a momentous decision with the decision to direct staff to move towards rezoning employment lands at 2050 University Avenue for the purpose. We're going through the consultation process and going through the regular process, but ultimately what we're looking at is building a mixed-use, mixed-income community that would house up to or over 700 housing units that are affordable, attainable, and built sustainably. So, for me, I feel like that's one of the biggest decisions that we're going to make this term, and I just wanted to, again, thank staff for all the work that they put into this over the past number of months, and then council's questions and your input today, and over the last few days as we prepared for this. And just again reiterate, this was a big decision. This is really community building, and I'm just really excited for the consultation has started. Go to engagewr.ca, click on the city-owned lands link and provide your input. And we are looking forward to going through the rest of the process. So thanks again, Council, for unanimously approving that this afternoon. Thank you. So moving on, we have Tova Davidson with us today from Sustainable Waterloo region. Thank you, Tova, for coming in. And I know we were just at your Sustainability Leaders Awards event just last Tuesday. It was great to see you there with all your energy and the work that you do to continue to work with organizations like the city and private sector organizations and public sector organizations to help guide us in reducing our GHG emissions, among other things. So welcome tonight. We're looking forward to the community update, and we'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you so much, Mayor McCabe. Hi, Council. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is Tova, and it is my honor to work as the Executive Director of Sustainable Waterloo Region. Today, I'm just bringing you an update of all the stuff that's been going on in the community and sustainability. It's a nice one because there's no ask and there's no official report, so this makes it a really nice little item on your agenda. Am I advancing slides or just the down key? Thank you. Oh, you're so good. I love this one slide because it's a really great way to sort of demonstrate the impact of the work that SWR has done over the past year. And we put it all in one spot so you can get a bit of a snapshot. And if you go to our year-end report, which is on our website now, you can go and see it. We don't print very many, as you would imagine. I encourage you to go take a look at it. You'll see a lot more detail of the things that have happened. For example, we've had 120 plus organizations that we work with, so more than 40,000 employees in the community. We planted more than 1,000 trees in Waterloo region. We had more than 1,800 students through the Evolve building in about 5 days. It was a bit of a chaotic trip, but integrating that building into a lot of the curriculum for high school students and much more. So I'm going to give you a few more details of some of the work that we did, and then happy to answer any questions. The TravelWise program for the last 12 years has been managed in partnership with the region of Waterloo by SWR, and through the pandemic we worked with the region to try to keep the program viable when people were working from home, and to do an awful lot to try to keep it moving forward and to innovate in that Transportation Management Association program. And after all of that work, I think it is a testament to some of the input that SWR brought to it, that the region now sees this program as viable enough to be brought in-house. So the TravelWise program is now being operated and managed by the region of Waterloo. And it still will offer all the great things that SWR has offered over our 12-year time with the program, including discounted transit passes, employee engagement, trip planning, all of that kind of great stuff. So we thank the region for the partnership and to be able to work with this program, get it off its feet, and to help build it till it became a good and strong part of our community climate measures. The Microforest Program, which is a program we started just 3 years ago with a crazy idea of what if we took a piece of land that couldn't be developed into anything else and renaturalized it? What would happen? Would anybody want to do that with us? Apparently they do. In 3 years, we planted 20 forests. 1,800 trees have gone in the ground, and it's in 5 of the municipalities across the region. And our very first forest went in right before the Evening of Recognition at Cedar Brae Public School right here in Waterloo. It was a really beautiful day. We went and planted there, had students out and volunteers from Gore Mutual. That program has had a couple of unique forests planted in 2023. Voisin Park, we did a memorial forest in partnership with the bereaved families of Ontario Midwest region. And we actually did it as a little nonprofit ourselves as a fundraiser for bereaved families. We believe that it's important to work in partnership for all social causes, and so we did this in partnership with them. And what we did was we had people donate to plant a tree. They came out and planted those trees in memory of loved ones lost, and then had a bit of a ceremony with bereaved families. City of Kitchener provided the land for this one, and it was a really nice partnership with that other nonprofit. We also worked in partnership with Anishinaabe Outreach to plant a spirit garden for everyone. This was our very first food forest, and we planted all fruit trees and shrubs, as well as traditional medicines like cedars. And in this planting, we actually were working to make sure that there was a viable food forest for the future. There was a few more planted actually just on Earth Day this year, and I believe we're doing some additions to this space. The forest also had a bit of a building of a ceremonial fire done on site, and it was a really beautiful space in Breslau. We have planted in 5 schools in the region with the public school board. Partnerships are starting now with the Catholic school board, and sometimes students come out, but certainly if they aren't there on the planting day, it becomes part of the curriculum, so they get to understand all kinds of things about forests, like what do you mean it sequesters carbon, and why do we not play with the trees for the first little while? Why are we all going out to water it? Can we help to water it? Can we help to mulch? It's a really great program that brings people together. And I just want to point out on the right of the picture on the right, the person on the right, is one of my very good friends, Julia. And she came out in the pouring rain last April and planted her very first tree. And I love days like that where you see somebody plant their very first tree. It's pretty incredible. We've got all kinds of sponsors and helpers with this program. It's entirely run by donations, and that can be financial donations, in-kind support, volunteers that come out and plant. And the city of Waterloo is great about bringing mulch out to help us with that. The staff comes out, brings huge dump trucks of mulch. Everyone can't believe we're going to spread all of it in that morning, but we always manage to do so. I'm not going to say very much about climate action because we're just booking our dates to come and see you in a few weeks. There's a re-inventory coming. But so for those who don't know, climate action is a collaborative with Reap Green Solutions and SWR leading in partnership with all 8 area municipalities, and the city of Waterloo has 2 incredible people who sit on those committees, Sandy Little, who's here, and Anna Ristic. Amazing work done with them and all of the partners around the table. We launched the Transform WR Progress Dashboard, which actually came up at the most recent SAC meeting. People were like, well, this is cool. If you're interested in all of the 80 or so actions listed in Transform WR, you can go onto the website and actually see what progress has been made, who owns it, who are the collaborators in it, what are the things that are going to happen next, all that kind of thing. And it's a really important tool. We also are looking to build resilience. And so we were out in the community and trying to get everyone to understand that this plan is part of their own work that they would do, whether it's a resident, a business, anyone. So we went to 7 events with about 170 attendees. Those were our own events. And then we also went to 22 community events with about 400 community members engaged. And they were all over the place, from Pride to the Maple Syrup Festival, EV shows, all of that kind of stuff. The Impact Network is the thing that most people know us for, and the City of Waterloo, of course, is a long-term member of the Impact Network, and a special shout-out was given at the evening of recognition to the City of Waterloo for being such incredible partners for all of these years. This network of organizations, there's about 70 of them, has committed to reducing about 75,000 tons of greenhouse gases, and every year I get to share this, I love this, that it actually has always reduced more than it committed. This year, almost 20,000 tons more than it was committed, and 7,500 tons more than was committed last year. We also did Carbon Cleanse, which is an inter-member competition. I love this one because it gets the members engaging their employees, and they're all competing with each other for who's going to do the most to decrease the impact of their operations. So we had things like 42 uncooked meals, or 43 people said they took their shortest shower, which is kind of a fun one for people to report. We had people encouraging people to walk instead of drive. 150,000 steps were counted. More than 20 organizations lowered their thermostats. More than 10 sustainability documentaries were watched, and much more. So we encourage the city, if you're interested, to join this Carbon Cleanse. It happens in the fall. It's a lot of fun, and it's all just about engaging employees. The Evolve One building was a really interesting story this year. If you don't know the Evolve One building, it is Canada's very first net positive multi-tenant office building. It generates more energy than it needs. It's been around for more than 5 years now, but we've been reporting for 5 years. And for the first time ever, the building did not hit net positive energy status. And when we dug into why that happened, there were 2 reasons. One was there was an issue with one of the inverters, and they fixed it, and that had a small impact. But the bigger impact was that there were wildfires happening, and the pollution in the air meant that the solar panels could not operate to the level that they were designed to and that they can. So it's a vicious cycle of climate events causing impact on our ability to address climate change. So encouraging everyone to remember that these things are cyclical and can either positively reinforce or negatively. Of course, we're eager to see how this year does, and we're hoping it's not a high fire season this year. So there's been a lot of sustainability in the news lately. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. There was a big article about sustainability in the Record, and Catherine Thompson's done a lot to raise the profile, and a lot of it is really positive. One example is that the Climate Action Collaborative in Waterloo Region was called out as one of the only one of the only communities in Canada that has made significant progress on our climate work, and they credit it to the partnership that happens. But one of the
Tova, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
Yes.
I know you're on a bit of a time crunch. And
Yes, I will be quick.
Yeah, you're nearly out of the 10 minutes time,
Great.
but I know you said
Yes.
that you're pressed for time, so.
Okay. Yes, I'm doing another council tonight. So the thing I wanted to point out is that one of the Record articles did talk about how we are almost out of time. And it is true, the time to ring the alarm bells on climate is past. It is time to be acting really aggressively and to be making transformative change. And hearing this resolution that's been passed by the City of Waterloo is incredible, to say that we're going to look at social issues and environment together. To me, that's the magic of the future. Very quickly, there's a couple of cool things happening. A partnership with Explore Waterloo Region and SWR to help the entirety of the tourism, events, and sporting sector measure and be able to win more bids to this region using sustainability. And a program with Boundless and Uvaro, funded by the Government of Canada, to be able to do training in clean tech business, so business development, project management, et cetera. And we've been contributing to all of the incredible curriculum that they're presenting to these organizations. So I just want to end by saying climate change is a marathon, not a race. We are so grateful to be working with all of you. We're so grateful for your support. We couldn't do it without the support of the municipalities and the incredible work that you're doing internally. And we're eager to keep working together. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Tova. Great summary, and yeah, and just want to congratulate ourselves again because because in January we set a target to hit net zero by 2050 rather than the 80% by 2050. So we know that that will require a great deal more work, but we know we have a really good staff team here and the commitment of council to get there. I can't see Sandy right now, but I think oh yeah, there she is. It was thanks for the shout out that you gave Sandy and Anna at the awards just last Tuesday, because they certainly have been doing a ton of heavy lifting here, them and as well as some other of our staff, of course, too, particularly in facilities, to really work at driving those emissions down. So thank you. So wonderful. With saying that, council comments, questions? No? Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Councillor Rowe.
Oh, no, I just wanted to thank you. That was an excellent report, and just the forests, like the growth in the forests is really exciting to me, and I think that's fantastic, and I'd like to learn more about that. So
great.
Yeah.
Let's have coffee.
Reach out. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, you got another volunteer to plant trees, it sounds like.
I'll sign up my kids.
What's that?
I'll sign up my kids.
Yeah, or maybe for the carbon cleanse, we can have a council challenge. Any other comments or questions? No? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tova, for the update, and thanks to you and your team and at REPA and Climate Action Waterloo Region for all the work you do. I used to be a volunteer with Climate Action, and it's yeah, I miss those conversations and the discussion because it's really energizing. But as are you. So thanks for the work that you're doing and you continue to do. And yeah, we'll continue to work alongside you.
Wonderful. Have a beautiful night.
Yeah. Thanks, Tova.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is a formal public meeting. So this is a formal public meeting to consider item 11A, zoning bylaw amendment Z24-06, 275 Herb Street West. East. Let me say that one more time. 275 Herb Street East. Thank you, Councillor Hammer. Any persons who want further notice of this application, including the passage of any bylaw, should sign the appropriate register in the binder located on the desk at the rear of the council chambers. If there is more than one binder, please make sure you are assigning the appropriate one. Will the clerk please advise council of the method used to give notice of the meeting and the dates notice was given?
Notice was advertised in the Waterloo Region Record on March 28th, 2024, and mailed or emailed on April 2nd, 2024, to all property owners within 120 meters of the subject property and to public agencies. An informal public meeting was not held.
Thank you. And now our planner, Tristan DeVoe, will give a brief overview of the application. Thank you, Tristan.
Thank you very much, Mayor McCabe and members of council. So for the formal public meeting for zoning bylaw amendments Z2406 for 275 Herb Street East. Let's go over a bit of the background. So the site location, it's bounded by Herb Street East and Cardinal Crescent north and south, Terry Stone Walk and Blue Vale Street kind of east and west, very much situated within a residential context. All of the surrounding land uses kind of small scale, low-rise residential. The applicant is proposing to establish a childcare center and private school use on the subject property. These uses are proposed to be integrated into the existing structure, the existing spiritual use on the property, which is Parkminster United Church. Approximately 340 square meters of dedicated space for those two uses, and then some additional space within the facility that's going to be shared with these uses and other users of the space. The spiritual use will continue to operate. This will remain predominantly the site function will still be predominantly that spiritual use. This will be kind of an ancillary use of the site. And at this time, there's no significant redevelopment of the existing buildings or the site at this time. So the official plan designates these lands as low-rise residential, or low-density residential, I should say. So the primary function of that planned area is for low-rise residential development, but there are complementary uses that are also contemplated within the official plan. Childcare centers is one of those uses, and the official plan also mentions community uses, which includes both public and private schools. So these uses are both contemplated within the official plan designation for this area. So it is consistent with official plan policies to contemplate these uses. The zoning bylaw, the site is zoned as residential 1. So again, this zoning designation is primarily intended for small-scale residential, specifically single detached. The existing spiritual use is a complementary use within the R1 zone, so that's why the church use is on the site. However, childcare center and private schools are not permitted within the R1 zone, hence why a zoning amendment is required. So the proposal is to create a site-specific exception, not to rezone the property itself, but just to add additional permissions to the existing site. And we're proposing, the proposal is to add the childcare center use and the private school use to the site on a site-specific basis and connected to the existing spiritual use. So these aren't intended to take over the site. This isn't a proposal to redevelop the site as a school or daycare or anything like that. But these uses will continue to operate within, or will operate within the existing use. The applicant provided a couple pieces of supporting material, primarily the planning justification report, as well as an existing site plan, so that we could determine zoning compliance and items like that. Staff reviewed those as part of our decision-making factor. So in conclusion, staff is supportive of this application. We're considering this a minor zone change application. That's how we took it in. Since this isn't intending to completely change the zoning of the site, and it's just adding 2 uses to an established use, to an established building, there's no substantial redevelopment proposed. That's why we're considering this minor. The uses are consistent with provincial policy statement, regional plan, official plan, City Waterloo official plan. The actual zoning requirements beyond adding those uses to the zone are all being met, including parking. There's a surplus of parking on the site available. So plenty of parking to facilitate the additional uses. The proposal will add community uses to an existing neighborhood and within an existing building and infrastructure, making an efficient use of existing infrastructure. So staff are in support of this application. My council report, or my staff report rather, has the recommendations to that council approve the staff report as well as approve the zoning bylaw amendment for this application as per section 7 of my report. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, are there any questions of staff? Go ahead, Councillor Vasek.
Thanks through you, Mayor McCabe. Thanks so much, Tristan, for your presentation and for highlighting why this is a minor amendment request. Do you anticipate, if council were to approve this tonight, if there's any adverse impacts you've kind of flagged or growing pains as the use changes?
Through you, Mayor McCabe, to Councillor Vasek. While the additional uses will certainly create more activity on the site. Again, I think the site is already developed. We're not expecting to see a major expansion of the site. The parking is sufficient. There's good road access. So I think any impacts would be fairly minimal. Staff anticipates that the impacts would be fairly minimal. Again, given that the primary function of the site is going to remain that spiritual use and that the daycare and private school uses will primarily operate at different times from that existing spiritual use.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Other questions by anyone? No? Okay, you're off the hook. Thank you very much. I will now ask any registered delegations to come forward, and we have Mr. Hawkins, partner with MHBC Planning. Welcome back to Council Chambers. This is a weekly occurrence, I think.
Thank you, Mayor McCabe. It's good to be back. It's good to see Councillor Freeman. SLR did not write a report for this, Councillor Freeman, so you're all set. I don't think there's a whole lot more I can add. Tristan did a great job of summarizing the application. It is fairly straightforward. The property is located on Herb Street, so access to the church property today, there's 2 entrances from Herb Street. If you're traveling from the east, you would come along Bridgeport. You could cut down to Herb Street and enter the site from the 2 driveways on Herb Street. There is, of course, another single-way access on Cardinal Crescent, but the intent here would be to put the signage in the same location as the church's existing sign on Herb Street, and that those coming and going from the site would be directed to use the Herb Street access. Again, the application is, as Tristan has summarized, there's no more to it than to add 2 new uses to the existing R1 zone. The uses would operate within an existing building, so it minimizes any sort of development associated impacts. There would be permits associated with internal works within the church, but there wouldn't be anything outside the church building that would really change from a visible level, other than the new signage indicating the Brayson Academy as a tenant of the church building. There's plenty of parking on the site for anyone who's been to the property. Probably a lot more parking than is really necessary on a day-to-day basis. And as Tristan's noted, the school and the daycare would operate, generally speaking, at different times of the day than the church would have their sort of peak operations on weekends and evenings. So again, in summary, it's a permitted use in the official plan. So this is a zoning bylaw amendment that's taking permitted uses in the official plan and adding them to the existing zoning. As council is aware, you may recall we were here before council for a daycare last year on Herb Street West. And I believe at the time I was in front of council for that application, there was thousands of people looking for daycare spaces in Waterloo. And so this is another example of use in the community with minimal impact that is serving an overwhelming need, and something we certainly need more of. And certainly when we can make use of existing buildings to provide a community need, it's even really a more efficient use. So that's sort of the genesis of the application, and I know Brayson Academy is looking forward to moving ahead with their permits pending council's support of the application, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Council, are there any questions? Councillor Bassett.
Yeah, thanks too much. It's nearing 10,000 as of February. It was at 9,200. Only 30% of people who want spots can get spots right now. Yeah, my question is about the community use. So if you can just speak a little bit to how you're going to, or if you're going to accommodate the community uses that are occurring right there. It's a informal and formal space for community groups and summer camps. So if you could just speak a little bit to that, please.
Certainly. So the church, of course, owns the property in the building, and Brayson Academy would be a tenant of the church, and they would occupy certain space within the church as per their lease arrangement. The church does have other programming that may use the same spaces, the same shared spaces. We'll refer to those first. And Brayson has certainly worked with the church to make accommodations to accommodate a lot of that programming that the church runs, sort of evening programming, morning programming, sometimes lunchtime programming. So some of those shared spaces, there's been arrangements and discussions that have already occurred between Brayson Montessori and the church to accommodate those programs. When it comes to a sort of a camp that would operate in the entirety of the summer, obviously Brayson would operate the daycare in the summer because working families still need daycare, in the summer months. And the church would have other space in the facility that they would be able to make available to other programs that may need that space in the summer. Brayson obviously does need their space and can't make their space available during the typical daycare hours. But if there are things that they can do to accommodate some of these other spaces, without negatively impacting the children in the daycare, then they would certainly do that.
Yeah, just really good to hear that you're already working on it, so thank you. I don't have any questions more.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions from anyone? I'm just curious how many daycare, or how many children this will accommodate?
I believe it's around 60, yeah, 63.
Oh, great, okay, that's a good number. So seeing no other questions or comments, are you prepared to move it? Councillor Bassick is moving it? Oh, sorry, I need to, sorry, one other step, getting ahead of myself. Is there anyone present here tonight who wishes to speak to the application? Seeing none? No? Okay. If there are no more delegations, this formal public meeting is concluded and the application is now open to council for motion and debate.
Okay, whereas council has considered all written and oral submissions, and whereas council has considered the professional opinions of planning staff, therefore be it resolved that council approves staff report IPPW 2024-028, and 2, that council approves zoning bylaw amendment application Z-24-06 in accordance with section 7 of staff report IPPW 2024-028.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there any other questions or comments? No. So, Councillor Bassick, are you prepared to move it? Sorry, you just did move it. Who's? And I need a seconder. Moved by or seconded by Councillor Wright. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing that wait list come down a little bit. All right. So that brings us to. The consideration of notice of bylaws given. There are none. Notice of motions. There are none. Communications and correspondence. There are none. Unfinished business. Questions from council. Yes, Councillor Rowe.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. I actually have a question for staff. I wanted to speak to rent evictions and dem evictions that are increasing in Waterloo, and as we've seen, certainly across the province and the country. And I'm wondering if we have the right suite of tools to protect tenants in our existing affordable rental housing stock. So what I'm asking is if staff are considering or reviewing a rent eviction bylaw within the upcoming rental housing bylaw review. Have we considered an anti-displacement strategy to support residents? And could staff bring more information to council?
Thank you, Councillor. I'll turn to Commissioner Mark Dykstra.
Through the mayor to the councillor, thanks for the inquiry and the question. Yes, can note that staff are working on rent eviction and dem eviction policies, considerations. They're doing some research right now. They're looking across jurisdictions, other municipalities, understanding the legislation around that. Internally too, working with planning too, so there could be some planning considerations coming forward and also bylaw considerations as municipal enforcement's looking at the current rental licensing policies. There may be opportunity to see what can be strengthened there around these two topics. So more to come in the coming months, but I want to advise that staff are reviewing that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Did you have a follow-up, Councillor? No? Okay. Okay. Councillor Bassick just needs a few seconds. No pressure. I do know that this is also something that the region is looking at, the rent evictions and dem eviction issues, along with some of the work that they're doing through their housing services and through the plan to end chronic homelessness, and some of the other decisions that were made in the past month or two. So there's work that's happening at the region as well. So did you find? You're good. Okay. All right. We're just trying to fill in the dead air. Although there is that work that the region. No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. Any new business, council? Now we'll move to the enactment of the bylaws. And yes, I know that we have. Oh, sorry. You had new business. Sorry,
No, that's
I missed
okay.
that.
I was just going to say that we visited Adventure for Change last week and, had a really great conversation with the team and It's just so inspiring what they do in the community for women, youth, and families. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them and to the staff there. And they have an event coming up Thursday night at the Pavilion at the rec complex. So I really, encourage everyone to come out. There's going to be a fashion show, and they're showing a short video about what they do in the community. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, and it really was great to see them again. And one of the things they're starting is a social enterprise with an eye to becoming more financially sustainable, because they run a group primarily for women to learn how to sew, and so they're going to start to take in like items that people need repairs done, as a way to start to generate some revenue. So I think that's part of what the fashion show is as well. So yeah, great work that happens in that community for sure. Any other new business? No? I'll just say once again that my State of the City's coming up, and we have council for the day. Still time to buy tickets at rotarywaterloo.ca. And we look forward to welcoming our 8 Council for the Day members here in Chambers on May 2nd. Okay, so enactment of the bylaws. And I know that Councillor Vasic will take them all with the exception of F. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I thought that's how you, okay. Okay, we'll take them all with the exception of F. Do I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Freeman, seconded by Councillor Rowe. All in favor? That is carried. Okay. We'll just let Councillor Vasic leave. Okay. Need a mover and a seconder for F. Councillor Bodley, moved by Councillor Bodley, seconded by Councillor Hamner. All in favor? That is carried. And we will move to, just scroll the screen to adjournment, just making sure. Okay, moved by Councillor Rowe and seconded by Councillor Bodley. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.